Welcome to our Friday Night Live. I'm actually so excited to be back because we are back with our team Q&As. Last week we had a little interview featuring a guest, but today we just want to focus on taking your questions. So let me first quickly share how to submit your questions because today we have 60 minutes tops. Please put your questions in the live chat box. It should be right on the right side or right below this live stream video. And can you please put 3 capital Qs or 1 so that we can easily identify your question. So drop your questions. We will start starring them and we will go in order. Now, before we jump into the questions, I do want to just share screen real quick and talk about our Montana meetup. It is July 4th to July 5th. So spend the 4th of July with us, okay? And as you can see all those awesome faces on screen right now, we've got Dr. Baker, Dr. Chafee, Dr. Chafee's fiance, Elle, Carrie, Homestead Howe. We've got the entire SBG team, Todd, Raymond, Phil, Dr. Kiltz, and we're still adding to our guest lineup. So for all the details, Todd, if you can drop a clickable link in the chat box as well, just go to sbg.events to get your tickets before they sell out. We can't wait to see you there in Montana. All right, so let's start with our first question. Any advice on working out at the gym on a carnivore diet? Okay, who here works out in a gym? In an actual gym, raise your hand.
In an actual gym? I do have a garage gym.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
I
do not work out at a gym. I just do it at home.
Yeah.
What's your advice?
I don't know what they mean by what like my advice is don't lift heavy things and stand up quickly if you've been fasting over 48 hours. That's the only thing I figured out not to do.
I say make it fun, make it doable.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And I would say don't overdo it. Especially if you're a lady, you don't be doing more than 20 max. And I would say stick with resistance training over hours of cardio. You don't need to be a cardio bunny. If you're looking to do body recomposition, most people are looking for that lean muscle look, and you're going to get that from resistance training, not from cardio.
Perfect. And yeah, I want to add on that. You want to do workouts, whether it's in the gym or outside of the gym, so that it's sustainable. Because what I see similar to starting a carnivore diet, right? People get so pumped up with going carnivore. People get pumped up with going to the gym, and then they just can't sustain it. So they'll do it for 7 days straight and they never touch it again. So let's focus on making it enjoyable and doable, easy to sustain. So who here goes to the gym and works out in a gym? Let me know in the live chat and in the comments. All right, let's keep going.
All right. Right here.
Yes. Directions on how to post your question is right down there, the rotating banner. Okay, so take a look if you're new here. April says, how late do you suggest eating my last meal on level 1, week 1 priming, Raymond?
Well, these are wonderful questions in our class. But thank you for asking it here. But really, how late you're eating 3 meals, that all depends on your schedule. And I would not limit the time. For example, let's say you come home at 8:00 p.m. at night. You haven't had your third meal. Have that third meal. So the important thing is getting those 3 meals in. Now, there is a caveat behind that. If that third meal is going to make you uncomfortable, some people get GERD or some people get uncomfortable and can't sleep, obviously you're going to have to adjust. But on your first day, test that out. If you're fine doing that, do that. Get those 3 meals in however you can.
Perfect. For those who are interested in priming, I do recommend that you guys join our 30-day challenge for all of the guidance, okay? Because just doing priming lightly, not really truly understanding the schedule that Raymond teaches is not ideal. And our 30-day challenges happen every single month. So I'm going to just put up the banner on how to join. We just kicked off April. Okay, and the link is right there on screen, sbgmeetup.com. It's also linked down below in the description box if you guys are interested. If you have questions about the challenges, ask away. We are happy to answer about it. Juan, welcome. Any recommendations on carnivore shampoo? Phil, what shampoo do you use?
I use a product called Silk Essence that's free of any PABAs and preservatives, and it's something I've been using for years. So there's a lot of alternatives out there. I remember 2016 when I started to use it, it was probably the cleanest shampoo I could find. And now it's pretty clear. But I know some carnivores use egg yolks, which
I've heard.
but I like something I can order. It's hard to find stores, so I have to order it from Amazon.
Nice. So what's the brand? What's the brand again?
Silk Essence.
Silk Essence. Awesome. Richelle, do you have recommendations for non-toxic shampoo?
Yes, I do. I use Buffalo Gals shampoo bar and conditioner bar. I'm obsessed with them. They are MSM bars, which I can't remember what that means right at this second, but I believe they're tallow based as well. And I've never found a shampoo that I liked better. And I mean, I used to use like heavy chemical soups on my hair, and now I would not go back. I'm obsessed with Buffalo Gal, and you can order it on Amazon, which is really convenient.
Perfect. Buffalo Gal. Richelle, is it just me or is she sounding a little bit muffled?
Am I?
Yeah,
Yes.
just slightly. No
Okay,
worries.
Let me check my mic.
No problem. Okay, next up, we've got Melanie. How much should I be eating when priming? I am an older woman. Raymond. Oh, you're muted, Raymond.
Okay. So when you are, how much should you eat when priming? That's a conversation that you're trying to find when you're priming. So what is your comfortably stuffed mode? But what is comfortably stuffed? Let's say you eat it in the AM, but you have to eat 3 meals a day also. Where does that lie for you? That's for you to answer. Regardless, I can't go on the protein amount. I won't go on the fat amount. That's up to your body to decide. Part of priming is to become aware of what your body's capabilities are. How much can it eat? So let us know when you find out.
Perfect. All right, let's keep going.
Is my sound better now?
Oh,
Way
much
better.
Okay.
Way better.
It was the mic. We're good.
No worries. Mackenzie wants to know, is 1 pound of meat, 5 to 6 egg yolks, and butter good enough for the day? I'm 18 years old, female. I've also been carnivore for 7 months. That is such a great question. Firstly, I want to highlight that Mackenzie is 18 years old. We need more. Yes. We need more teenagers on a carnivore or animal-based diet. So spread the word, Mackenzie. And is that enough food for Mackenzie? I think we would all agree that, Mackenzie, if you're hungry for more, clearly that's not enough food. If you feel super satiated, like so satiated you can't eat another bite, that's a good spot to be when you're just a couple months into carnivore. And down the line, when you're 1, 2, 3 years into carnivore, you will be so much more in tune with your body's hunger and satiation signals. That looks good to me, Mackenzie. Keep going. Abe, is there long-term negatives to being in ketosis for years? Phil, do you want to take this?
Not really. Fat is ketone bodies are one of the most efficient fuels you can burn in your body, and more efficient than glucose. And probably the most important thing to remember is like tumors feed on glucose and glutamine, and ketones are not fuel for cancers. So it actually probably long-term keeps your mitochondria healthier because the mitochondria produce more energy pound for pound for ketosis over glucose. And you're not damaging your mitochondria with high blood sugar. So if anything, I think it would be ideal for you. You may have a little ketone breath, but it's a small price to pay.
Yeah.
It doesn't last for a small time.
Awesome. Lillian wants to know, I've been eating 3 high-fat ketovore meals plus high iodine for 4 months, and I gained 8 pounds. Hypothyroid symptoms are improving, but do I need to worry about the weight gain or wait for more healing, Richelle?
Ooh, this is a great question. I am also hypothyroid. I have Hashimoto's. I would say give yourself grace, give yourself time to heal and recover. Your body didn't get this weight overnight. 8 pounds is not a significant weight gains. If it was 80 pounds, then I would say maybe you might need to talk to your practitioner if you're on like naturally desiccated thyroid or something like that to change your dose or to at least get your thyroid tested to see what your levels are doing. An 8-pound gain can be totally normal. I gained 14 pounds in the first 2 weeks of going carnivore, which kind of freaked me out. But my body composition completely changed. I had boobs for the first time in my life. My waist dropped 3 inches and my hips lost 1.5 inches. So there are other ways to kind of measure your health. Another thing that occurred to me when that was happening was that my bones were getting stronger, my muscles were becoming more dense, and all of my organs were probably getting back up to normal size. If we've ever been in a state of chronic undereating, I have heard that it can be possible for our liver to shrink by up to 50%, which can be where a portion of our weight gain can come from. So I would say take your pictures and your measurements and do some side-by-side comparisons after a couple of weeks and see how it looks.
Perfect. Thank you, Richelle.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I think women underestimate that bone density effect that occurs when you're on carnivore, because many women are protein deficient for years and they get osteopenia. And one of the things we see is DEXA scans of your bone density actually getting better with carnivore because of all the excess extra protein that you're getting, which the calcium can then deposit on the bones. And your skeleton actually gets heavier. So you can attribute, 2, 3, maybe 4 pounds just to skeleton mass improving.
Exactly. Cisse, welcome back. Oh, Raymond, there is a bit of feedback when you move. So maybe your microphone is too close to you. It's quite loud, actually. Thank you. Cisse says, what is lacking in chicken with the skin not to be liked by many? Yeah. Why do most carnivores hate chicken? Because I'm not one of them. I love chicken. Richelle, do you like chicken?
I like it, but it's not my first choice. When I get pregnant, it's my first choice because that's what I crave, but I just don't feel as satiated when I eat chicken. Like I feel hungrier after I eat it. I don't feel like I get that full kind of feeling that I like to have when I eat ruminant meat. When I eat ruminant meat, I can put my fork down and know that I'm like, no, I'm good for several hours. Whereas with chicken, that's like an hour later, I'm like, I could have a snack.
Sure. Yeah. It's just not as filling. I totally agree. Any other thoughts?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
I go ahead,
go ahead.
Todd. Go
I
ahead,
was
Todd.
going to say it gives my dog seizures. And so I just feel like there's something wrong with it if my dog can't eat it, So, and I know that that's the commercially grown stuff. And I know that a lot of people don't have issues with it. And I just don't feel as good when I eat chicken. But anymore, it's just about how good can I feel. And I just feel so much better on red meat and raw salmon that's just what ends up winning the battle at the end of the day for me.
For sure.
Yeah, and I love eating chicken thighs with the skin on. I get the boneless ones with the skin on, and I just think they're wonderful. And I make a lot of chicken wings, especially when I'm entertaining. People come over to my house and kind of expect chicken wings. So,
Right.
but I just don't like the chicken breast anymore. I find them too dry,
No.
and they're hard to get them cooked the right way. So it's just
Yeah.
not flavorful for me.
Exactly. Okay, let's keep going. Hi, Delilah. Steak and Butter Gal, you said in one of your videos that you spent about 4 years healing your body. Absolutely. Can you please explain more of what that looked like, including rest and daily physical movement? Oh, I really like this question. To really condense it into a nice short answer, firstly, my body needed 4 years of healing because I did 6 years of a vegan diet. So if you take anything away from this live stream or from me personally today, please do not ever, ever, ever go vegan. Don't even go vegetarian. Pescatarian is terrible in my opinion as well, because we need red meat, we need butter, we need all that animal fat. So 6 years of a vegan diet was 6 years of really just ruining my hormones, my metabolism, all of it. And so it literally took 4 years of feasting as much as I needed to on fatty red meat, on lots of fats. My choice was butter. You don't have to be eating butter. You can do tallow, ghee, suet. And my daily routine for the first 4 years, I'll start with year one, because year one was quite special. 5 meals a day. 5 meals a day. And just resting between the meals, focusing on digesting, focusing on napping whenever I could. That was my second year at Juilliard. So I was very busy, but I would be packing sticks of butter to Juilliard. I would be packing 10 boiled eggs and eat those in the back of the concert stage. I was just focusing on fueling up whenever I could. I didn't do any workouts. I didn't do any workouts until year 5 of my carnivore diet. And so I'm not saying that you don't need to work out and move your body to be healthy. I'm saying that some women and gentlemen truly need to focus on healing and putting working out second for as long as the body needs to before they can even put that stress on their body. Because working out is a stress on the body, just like fasting, right? Just like cold plunging. Eating is not a stress. So if you can just focus on feasting as much as you can, for me, that was 4 years, no workouts until year 5. Okay. Daily walks, though, are fantastic. Okay. Yeah. Hey, Marlis, welcome back. Carnivore thoughts on L-reuteri, fermented dairy, weight loss, and gut healing. Does anyone have experience with this yogurt dairy thing?
Just made some, but I haven't tried it yet.
Okay. What inspired you, Raymond?
Oh, the last live stream with Nick.
Nick, yes. Yes. You got a great answer. Anyone want to take this? Thoughts on L-reuteri?
I just work with a gal who shoots about all the benefits that can come from L-reuteri yogurt and fermented dairy. I would say dairy, as much as L-reuteri has many benefits, I don't know that dairy is always a help if weight loss is one of our goals. And if gut healing is one of our goals, it can take a while for the gut to properly heal and seal. And so if that was my goal, to have my gut heal and to lose weight, I would probably nix the dairy, because I know that I lose a significant amount of weight when I take dairy out. And I hate admitting that because I'm a dairy fairy. I love my dairy. But it doesn't love me back. And then the gut healing side of things, once that starts to heal, the hormones can start to heal. The body's going to triage and prioritize the healing that needs to be done. You'll start to see a significant improvement in your body composition if that is what is necessary.
Perfect. Looking Up wants to know, I'm on level 3, week 4. I'm concerned about following the 72-hour fast with 5 one meal a day. Will be under eating. Could I do 2 MAD instead, Raymond?
Sure, if you want. You could do the 3-2 MADs. Remember, it's just 5 days. It's really that after the alternate day rolls, and then you do the 72. It's actually very difficult to eat 2 meals after that. That's why the 5 OMADs come in to you become a lot more efficient. Also, your stomach's a little smaller. But saying that, if you want to do 2 MAD, 3 days should do it to re-up yourself and then go to the next challenge.
Awesome. All right. Eng wants to know, I have hypothyroidism, and maybe Richelle, you can take this. Should I be avoiding coffee?
Ooh, good question. I don't know that coffee necessarily has a direct correlation with it, but cortisol can definitely have a relationship with our thyroid that can be less than ideal. So coffee is very personal, and like food is very personal for everyone. I would say if you're curious about taking it out, maybe take it out and just see how you feel. I noticed that I feel significantly better without it. I do still want to have a cup of it because I love the ritual of it, but I have found great substitutes like a fatty latte, or just bone broth. There are much more nutrient dense options that I would rather turn to than just a cup of dirty bean water at this point. And coffee was more of just an excuse for me to have loads of creams. So I wouldn't say that there's necessarily a correlation there, but I would say do your research and do an N=1 experiment. Take it out for a period of time, maybe even 30 days, and then reintroduce it over the course of 4 days and just see how your body responds. You might be surprised.
Perfect. Who here drinks coffee? Yes. Do you drink coffee? Do you not drink coffee? Share your answers in the live chat. Okay, let's keep going to the next question. CP3, welcome. I keep hearing different comments about fat. Some say eat fat or fat doesn't make fat. Others say if you eat fat, then your body has to metabolize that fat before it metabolizes stored body fat. all of that, I don't really, it just goes in one ear, out the other. I just know how it makes me feel. And I hope that like when we have these conversations every Friday night, that we can empower you guys to focus on how you feel when you go carnivore.
Well, and I just want to keep
Yeah.
this real simple. I've been on a lot of fat-free diets that were miserable to lose weight. They all focused on starving to death. Just tanks your metabolism. And I've been on a high-fat diet now, and I mean, I did that for 26 years, like nonstop dieting and falling off the wagon and going into depression and gaining back the weight and doing that. And it's only been on a high-fat diet that everything healed. And, you know, I'm down 320 pounds now and still going. And so I would have to call absolute bullshit on that. That's the problem, because it's just not. It's the lie that they want to tell us, but it's not. As soon as our body starts, as soon as our body heals our metabolism and it starts going after fat for fuel, then, all cards are on the table. It's going after all the fat. And so, yeah, good luck on that. That's the only thing I've ever seen that's been efficient and the real answer to that long term. So
I love that, Todd. I would also love to see a person who's been carnivore, lower fat carnivore, and not a high fat carnivore, long term female. I would like to see how they look like. I would like to know about their hormone health. I don't know any who have been carnivore long term who have not been on a high fat carnivore diet. Richelle, what are your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've experimented with this intentionally and eaten close to 3 sticks of butter or closer to 4 sticks of butter. So a pound of butter per day, trying to see if my body would just, no, even with hypothyroidism, even with Hashimoto's, my body just metabolized it. It used it and it was great. I had the smoothest bowel movements ever. So fat is your friend.
There is one, but she looks like she's struggling. So
there are a few. I would say I agree with Bella. Your hormone health
it's just
comes
not good.
first.
Yeah,
your hormone health comes first. If you crave the fat, eat the fat. If you don't crave the fat, it's okay. Just eat the fat that comes in your meat on your plate. You don't have to go out and go above and beyond like I did, doing an experiment. But I wanted my body to heal, and so that's why I ate so much fat.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Again, sustainability. I could see how it could be helpful to do a little bit like the lean fat approach for a short period of time, but it's not going to work long term. Your hormones will definitely be wrecked.
Yep.
Hi, Turka. Welcome. Is smoked fish good and healthy? What are your thoughts, Todd?
Oh yeah, I love smoked fish, but I don't smoke all that much of it because I love salmon, and I actually feel better on raw salmon better than anything. Man, I get a lot of energy out of raw salmon. I don't know what it is, but yeah, smoked fish is fantastic and delicious. Smoked salmon on the Traeger, man, there's nothing better than that. And especially if you smoke it on the Traeger and then throw it in the air fryer for the last minute or two to crisp up that skin, it's crazy good.
So awesome. Yeah, we highly recommend it. Oh, check the ingredients. If you're buying the packaged smoked fish, they do like to sneak in sugars. Yeah. Taylor, should I eat less fat if I have more fat to burn off at first? I am a month and a half into the new carnivore lifestyle. My answer is absolutely not. I don't think you should eat less fat ever if your body's craving for the fat. Don't ever deprive yourself from the fat. The whole point of carnivore is to embrace the fat and embrace your appetite. What are your thoughts? Oh,
yeah. I was just going to say the other thing that happens there too when you're under eating the fat is you overeat the protein because you're not getting satiated as fast. When you overeat the protein, you have gluconeogenesis, and then it's slowing down your insulin resistance too, because your insulin's still spiking. So that's another problem to that whole theory. Yeah, eat the fat. The fat's what gets rid of the weight for sure.
Exactly. Perfect.
Yep.
All right. Let's keep going. This is Juan. Any recommendations on dating apps? Oh, for carnivores to date other carnivores. Do we know of any, guys?
I don't know. I mean, I would think hunting apps or something like.
That's nice. There's a Facebook app that I do for Michaela that she started it, but she's not continuing it. But that one exists.
Darn. Yeah. How would one go about finding a partner in this online? I feel like
SBG probably.
I would just put it in your description. I mean,
yeah.
and somebody who doesn't know what carnivore is isn't going to know what it is, and someone who is carnivore may find it through a search. So
Right.
I think you use any dating app, or you go start a business. Carnivore couples. We need more of them.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, pretty soon at the decline of fertility, carnivores are going to be the only ones left making kids. So
Yeah,
we might be the only ones left here
on your
another.
play, yeah.
You know, Montana in the 4th of July would be a great place to meet your next mate.
Come on
Yes.
out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Good point, Bill.
Actually, on events, that's right. Carnivore events. That's a great
That's
place
true.
to do it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Come meet
Yeah.
up in the wild and not on this virtual screen that everybody's looking
Oh,
at.
in person, so you can see the ladies, see the guys. Let's put up the share screen about our Montana meetup one more time.
Yep.
So it's July 4th, July 5th. If you missed the beginning opening, this is the spot to find your fiance, guys.
There you go.
No, seriously, we'll all be there. I will help you matchmake. I promise you, there's going to be healthy, beautiful people. So come on over. Oh my gosh, Oaktown girl is single. Come to Montana. Steak
There you
dates. We love that. Okay. SBG.events for all of our meetups, in-person meetups. Okay.
There we go.
All right.
We're
No
clicking.
worries. Oh, okay, so let's do this one. Target prime rib. Hello, Thomas. I'm thinking about getting raw salmon and tuna to have homemade sashimi. Love that. Any suggestions on what I should look out for and what kind of sauce, if any, do you recommend? I won't be doing it until 1 of 2. Oh, I think he had a second comment, but we got the gist of your question, Thomas. Todd actually has a really great combination.
Yeah, so as far as the healthy salmon goes, I just get the wild caught raw salmon, and we do have some seafood store. Like, I don't know about the seafood that goes into the big box stores. They taste a little funny to me, but we have a seafood store here, being that I'm not exactly around any of the oceans in the Rocky Mountains, that flies it in like no more than 72 hours old, and they fly it in, and that's where I like to get it. Is from a smaller store if I'm going to eat it raw, because otherwise that fishy tasting fish, it doesn't settle well, and that old fish all tastes kind of funky. But and Bella, you got to know Pike's what is it, Pike's Place?
Pike Place
Man.
Market.
Yeah, I went there and I was like, I want to move in. You could pretty much eat all the seafood there, raw. So just get a good quality seafood raw. And then any suggestion on what I should look out for and what kind of sauce, if any, do you recommend? I won't be doing. Yeah. And so you can do the amino acids, the coconut amino, some people do, but I like the fish sauces. They're the best ones that I like to put on those. I like the fermented fish sauces. Those are pretty good. And they don't have, if you get a clean one, they don't have anything in them. And those are kind of a good substitution for soy sauce. So
exactly. Red Boat is a good brand if you guys want a really clean fish sauce. Fish sauce is such a great hack for carnivore sauce. Okay, great.
All right. Thanks.
Got it. Oh, why do all carnivore women look shiny and wolfish? It is pretty cool. As in like glowy and lean, maybe? What does that mean? Wolfish.
Sure.
Interesting. Well, thank you.
Would
Jess.
it be glowish? Yeah. Glowish, maybe. Maybe she meant glowish.
Glowish? Maybe Violet can clarify.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Jess. I've been on strict carnivore for 2 months. Meat, water, tea, decaf. I feel great, but I still have loose stools. The smell isn't pleasant either. Do any of you know what I can do to fix it, Raymond?
Yeah. So first of all, with loose stools, sometimes the best thing is to deal with that. But if that's a bother for you, there are little things you can try. Lower the fat a little bit. Make sure you're staying away from rendered fats. Rendered fats being key. Try to eat your meat cold, see what happens. So it's going to be a lot of playing with certain things. You can try to add a little bit of electrolytes to see if that actually does different. So there's many things you can try to do. But to be honest, I had loose stools for the first 9 months of my 8-9 months, somewhere in there. So I just dealt with it. It wasn't that uncomfortable. It's just I had to be prepared right after I ate.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll bring up the whole rendered fat trick. Avoid any melted, hot, cooked fats. Instead, eat solid, cold fats. That should make a pretty big difference for your loose stools. Keep going, Jess. Congrats. All right. Where do you find heavy cream without additives in Canada? I don't live in Canada. So
Maybe
that's tough.
maybe someone in the chat knows.
Yes, please. Yeah. If anyone's in Canada watching the live stream, why don't you share your tips for Violet in the chat? Allison, welcome. 86-year-old mom has long COVID for 3 years. Carnivore is healing her. She is 5'7" and 76 pounds. Wow, very thin.
That's
She
underweight.
Yeah. She needs to gain weight. Help. Okay, let's give her some tips to gain healthy weight.
Yeah,
Smaller
so
meals all throughout the day.
Sorry, say that again, Raymond.
Smaller meals all throughout the day. Get her to just keep constantly eating.
Constantly eating small meals
Yeah.
all day. Yep.
Yeah, I would assume she has some kind of digestive disorder, problem absorbing calories if she's eating adequate calories. So I agree with Raymond. Eat very frequent. Get stuff in. Fatty meats is a great thing. So
Yeah.
start with something easy to digest, like ground hamburger 70-30,
Mhm.
something that's got a nice fat content. Don't eat the rendered fat.
Mhm.
And
What-
eggs are a good
Okay.
thing.
What do you think about dairy for her mom?
I would
cheese?
stay off dairy
Got it.
because
Yeah.
she probably, if you're that small, you probably lost the brush border of your small intestine and probably can't digest dairy. You're probably relatively lactose intolerant.
Mm.
And you got to reestablish that by getting nutritionally spent. But she's about 35 plus 24. She's about almost 60 pounds underweight. So she's really ill. And fatty meats will really help long COVID.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Phil. Let's keep going. All right. Mackenzie just says, Bella, I tried raw kefir and it was good. Definitely different. Yes, it's very sour, very, very tangy. Not a lot of people like it. Todd loved it though when he tried it. And yeah, I'm currently in the process of finding a new raw dairy source because it's no longer sold here in Las Vegas. Very sad. But a lot of you guys gave me some sources. So thank you. I will keep you guys posted. Haas, I hear you guys talking about raw this, raw that. Are there any salted or dried preservative methods that can work as an intermediate step? What do you think, Todd?
No, for sure. I mean, that's what cured jerky is, or cured bacon. I mean, any of that stuff, you can do all those things. You can smoke it, at a very low temperature, and that's a really good intermediate step. And you can just salt cure it. I mean, that's what prosciutto is, right? You just hang it and salt cure it for months, So prosciutto's the type one of those things, and you can do that same stuff with fish for sure. So definitely, I don't know, and they even do fermented meats. I've never tried one, but they got
meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very interesting. Pickled meat, even. It's crazy.
Pickled meat. Yep.
So
we used to can beef when I was a kid. We'd have canned beef, so that was another way of preserving the raw meat.
Yeah,
for sure.
Perfect. Bloom says, I'm doing rolling 48s on day 4, and so I just ate. Am I risking muscle loss? Raymond, what do you think?
Well, so here's the thing. 48s are still very muscle protective, so that's a good thing. It does depend on the day you eat. So if you're starting to notice muscle loss, then you're probably not feeding yourself enough. What I would say is make sure your up days, you can still make the 48, just make your up days with a little more meals. Like you could have a 2-hour window. Well, actually you should have a 2-hour window, and then eat 3 meals during that 2-hour window. If that doesn't work, and if you seem to still lose muscle during that time, up your hour window, and perhaps think about alternate day fasting instead.
And what is a rolling 48, please?
So it's a fast. You go for 48 hour. You go for 48-hour fast, and then you eat typically one meal, and then you roll into another 48 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Good luck.
Yes.
What is the carb limit on keto carnivore? I heard mixed answers, 20 grams, 15 grams, 10 grams. Also, what veggies, spices, seasoning, sauces can you use? So let's do the first one. Yeah, Raymond, I just saw him mouth 0. My version of carnivore is probably not 0 these days because I'll have like raw kefir, right? And there are carbs in kefir. So for me, carnivore diet is not going to be as strict with like, well, you got to keep it like under 10 carbs. Because if you have cheese and you thrive on, let's say, raw milk, that's still a wonderful carnivore diet that works for you. What are your thoughts, Phil?
Well, I think traditionally it's probably 0 to 9, under 10 is a good rule of thumb. If you eat a lot of eggs, like 8 eggs would have 2 grams of carb. If you eat a lot of shellfish, it has carbs in it. If you eat dairy products, it has carbs. So, but you're trying to minimize it, not have it every day. So use cheese as a condiment, not as a meal. I mean, don't sit down and eat a pound of cheese every day. But if you want to make a cheeseburger, like yeah, not gonna allow it, Todd.
Or a tub of Greek yogurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, a tub of Greek yogurt. Yeah, that's a great example.
Not a tub, a tub.
Yeah, gallon of milk.
That's right.
Milk.
3 pounds of sour cream.
Oh, so good.
But I like what. But I like what Ken Berry says. The idea is we don't know what your tolerance is to carbs, and you could do great at 50 carbs or less. You could, but most people do better. We have so many people in the community that got so much healing on keto, doing 20 to 50 grams, but when they went carnivore, they went ballistic, as they said in Top Gun. They got final healing for things, mental health, gut, autoimmune. So it really depends on what you're trying to treat.
Exactly. Okay. Just mute Richelle. Okay. All right. Quentin wants to know, what is a good brand of sausage that does not have corn syrup or fillers? A good brand is Teton, Teton. That is a great one. What's everyone's favorite butter? I love taste testing them all. Mine is Vital Farms, and I also like Truly grass-fed. In California, I can get Raw Farm, raw butter, which is going to be the best that you can possibly get your hands on. Raw butter is best. What's yours, Todd?
I just do the Kirkland grass-fed organic one.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Phil?
Yeah, I do the Kirkland grass-fed. In fact, I've had several pats of it today.
Yeah, there you go. Richelle?
Oh, I'm a big fan of Kerrygold salted. I do not like unsalted butter. I only like the salted. If I was in Canada, there was a Quebec-made, like handmade churned butter that I used to get there, or I just make it myself.
Awesome. And Raymond?
I'm the same, Kerrygold. Just get it from Costco. Sometimes I'll do the Costco brand. I forgot what that's called. That green-looking one. Yeah. Sometimes I'll do that. Is it Kirkland? Yeah, Kirkland. That's one. Kirkland.
That's a Kirkland brand.
Exactly. Okay. CP says the bacon I eat shows sugar as the 4th ingredient, but the label says 0 carbs per 2 slices. Is this still okay to eat? If you have 6 slices, are carbs creeping in, even though the label states otherwise? What are your thoughts, Phil?
I really think it doesn't matter. It's very expensive to buy sugar-free bacon. The sugar is used for a curing agent, and it's really minuscule, and it really depends on, again, what are you trying to heal? If you need to be strict and you have an autoimmune disease, I probably wouldn't eat it. If you're trying to break insulin resistance, I wouldn't eat it. But if you don't have either of those, I think you can get away with it because it's usually 30% cheaper than the sugar-free stuff. But you've got to judge, dollar for dollar how you're investing your money. And bacon has so much utility. You can use the bacon fat to cook eggs. You can save it, eat it as a snack. You can make candy out of it. You can. Bacon is very satiating and is kind of the magic bullet to keep a lot of people carnivore early on, just because it's so salty and good.
Very palatable.
For sure. Somebody in the SPG, Julie, she says that if you've never tried bacon jerky, it'll change your life. So she says to dehydrate your bacon and make jerky out of it. It's the greatest
Is
thing
it
ever.
raw? It's raw and you dehydrate?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm going to be trying that this coming week and see, because I gotta see what the hype's about.
Okay.
Also, beef bacon.
What's that?
Beef bacon is unbelievable. If you can find a butcher that does beef bacon or lamb bacon, unreal.
I'd love to find a beef belly. I can't find beef belly anywhere.
Yeah.
You might have to order it online. Yeah.
Okay. I'd love to braise a beef belly just to see.
It's so good. Billy Doe Meats has beef belly.
Okay.
All right. This is for Dr. Smith. How is our microbiome influenced by a carnivore diet? Can you
Yeah,
explain?
it's so funny. So some people don't even know what the microbiome is. It's really the mixture of bacteria that's in your gut. And when we're talking the microbiome, we're really talking about your colon, because you really should have a sterile small bowel. So we're talking about the bacteria that live in your gut and the balance of it. And there's a ton of research being done, because the standard American diet really is very heavy on the microbiome. But as you go carnivore, the microbiome becomes less important to you. So I always tell people, eat carnivore and don't worry about the microbiome, because if you're sick because your microbiome's out, or you got SIBO, which is small intestinal overgrowth of bacterial, small intestine bacterial overgrowth, SIBO, SIBO, or a problem like that, the best thing you can do is go carnivore. And the microbiome plays such an insignificant role in your health, because it will get better eating fatty meats.
Yep. Love it. Thank you, Phil. All right. Next up, let me just scroll up to where we left off here.
We could answer this one. This SPG member here I talked to today, new member.
Okay, welcome. Thank you for joining us. So can we talk about the iodine? I have a dropper bottle of 2%, Todd.
Can we talk? Yeah, I mean, I take, let's see. Gosh, what would the percentage of that be? I think I take 15 drops of that, because I take 10 drops of the 5%. How many drops would that be? Maybe it's 20 drops of that.
It's twice. It's 2 to 1, Todd.
Okay,
I keep
all
telling
right.
you that.
All right, so it's 20 drops of the 2% is what I take. So, because I take 10 drops of the 5% now, because Phil it made me do better or math for me. So I was taking 100 milligrams before. I'm surprised I didn't turn orange. But anyways, yeah, it's awesome. So take if you work up to the 20 drops. But Phil, how do you suggest to work up to the 20 drops?
Well, it depends if you have Hashimoto's or not. So if you have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, you have to start extremely slow. So you actually have to start with a diluted drop for 2 weeks. I mean, literally drop a drop in a small amount of water, maybe 4 ounces, and take a dropper full of that. 1 drop in 4 ounces and a dropper full of that for about 2 weeks. And then you can start with 1 drop a day and do that for 2 weeks if you have Hashimoto's. And then every 2 weeks, go to 2 drops, 3 drops, and get up to no more than 10 drops a day if you have Hashimoto's. If you don't have Hashimoto's, you can start much quicker. You can start with 1 drop straight out, and every week increase by a drop. 25 milligrams a day is 10 drops of 2%. 50 milligrams is 10 drops of 5%, because the 2% is closer to 2.5 and the 5 isn't quite 5. That's why it's a 2 to 1 ratio when you go from 2 to 5. Okay.
Perfect. All right, Helen, I began the carnivore diet in January, and I had a coronary angioplasty and stent placement in March. The cardiologist put me on statins. I'm not a big fan. I would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, let me address this one, because I've recently did a interview with Bella and Raymond on this. So this is a case where you absolutely want to be on statins, and you want to be on statins a minimum of 6 months. Statins, in the case of a angioplasty and a stent placement, will help to heal the endothelium, which is the lining of your coronary arteries, in that critical 6 months. Some people would say 6 months, some say 10, some say 2 years, but you're on it for a reason unrelated to your cholesterol. You're on it for stabilization of your endothelium. And that's what we call a pleiotropic effect. And if you're interested in more detail, Bella, do you remember the name of that interview?
Yeah, I can actually just go ahead and link it in the live chat.
Okay, that would be great.
No problem. I'll just need a second. If you guys can just read the
All right.
next question for me.
Here we go. Dr. Amaro was on Dr. Berry's show, said he drinks 4 to 5 cups of coffee per day. How is his cortisol not out of control? I'm happy to drink that much if I knew the hack. Yeah, exactly. So what's the hack for drinking 4 to 5 cups of coffee a day?
Maybe sprinting.
And maybe
There you
after meals only.
And maybe fermented vegetables. Who knows?
I do not
You'd have to
know.
ask Dr. O'Mara that.
Yeah,
'cause-
that's a good question for him.
It obviously works.
But
for
Dr.
him.
O'Mara does, yeah, he does a lot of cortisol, a lot of sprinting. So I think his cortisol would probably be fine because he has a whole regimen with his daily sprints. So you should follow him, and he's very interesting. He's got his own theories on things, and he gets good results with what he does.
I can tell you this: I pinched a nerve in my back that's not let me sleep for about the last 2.5 months. So I started playing with it about 3 weeks ago or so, and it just made me cranky. So
Yeah.
I definitely have the cortisol problem when I drink coffee. So I had to quit again a couple of days ago. So yeah, it's not worth it.
Exactly. Okay, Garcia, welcome. I'm about 1 month into my strict carnivore journey. I have chronic pain and hope this will help with pain management. When would I start to see results, and what is best for craving a peanut butter sandwich? Any ideas, Todd, for the peanut butter sandwich?
Yeah, well, I mean, man, you can just change that to anything. But the fact of the matter is when I'm craving stuff, I'm not eating enough carnivore foods and I'm not getting enough fat in. And that's the number one thing is you got to get the fat in. And so if I have any of those old cravings, creeping up and driving me crazy, I just eat through it with carnivore food. And I make sure I eat, I go to town, like I'll eat a 3-pound steak or something, or I'll eat, 3 pounds of bacon and eggs like it's nothing. And that goes away. By the time you're done with it, you don't even remember that craving anymore. So that's always my go-to.
And let
Yeah,
me
I
help
do.
you.
I do have a hack. I have a hack for that.
Please.
I found I used to eat a lot of dark chocolate and a lot of peanut butter. So I have found slice pats of butter, put it in the freezer, and when you get those cravings, take it out of the freezer or lay it on your tongue and just let it dissolve on your tongue. And believe it or not, you can imagine it's chocolate or peanut butter, whatever you have to imagine it is. But that fat slowly seeping into your taste buds will give you a nice hack to forget what you were really dreaming about, because I thought I could delude myself, and it literally tastes like I was eating chocolate when I did that. And it works for peanut butter sensations too.
Oh, good. That's awesome. Yep. Okay, let's keep going. Perfect. Chef Deb, macadamia nuts, are they okay or not? Raymond.
Yeah, no, they are high in fat, the wrong kinds of fat. But that's probably why you're craving those. So instead, replace that with, I don't know, like pork belly or, just a higher fat snack, butter, whatever. But I think that's what the craving is for, because I used to enjoy macadamia nuts when I was a keto. And it did cause problems because I got bloated and had issues after eating it. And also it triggers my binge. They're expensive, so that's a good part. So I can only have so much because they're costly. But other than that, I could just keep eating.
I about had to get a second job when I was on keto because of macadamia nuts. Those things are so expensive and I cannot regulate them. I could eat $70 of macadamia nuts in a sitting, no problem. Yeah, it's like no way. Those things are like $35 a pound, $40 a pound. They're crazy.
I'm glad you said that because I thought I was just crazy that I could not stop eating something so expensive. So
No.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, when I start eating a nut and I actually have to put it into my monthly budget because it's having
I remember going to Costco in Canada and they had, I think it was like a kilogram or a pound and a half or something. I remember it was in like one of those cardboard tubes, and I would eat the whole thing in one sitting, like no guff about it. I would just sit there and I couldn't stop eating them. They were just super addictive.
Yeah, nuts.
I have no switch with those. Those are definitely an abstinence-based food for me.
For sure.
All nuts. Yep.
You said it right. Nuts.
Nuts. That's right. Hey, Shirley, welcome. What makes me so gassy on carnivore? Are you eating any dairy? Pasteurized dairy causes so much bloat and gas for me. Any other ideas, team?
Die off. I don't know how far into your carnivore journey you are, but I had a ton of gas when I first started because everything was just so dysregulated in my gut and in my microbiome and in my intestines that things just started dying off. As soon as I cut out the sweeteners, that was a game changer for me. Sweeteners and anything that was still fairly carb rich. I did have to dial back on my dairy quite a bit to get the bloating to go down. But once it did, I was so grateful. And now I don't have that experience anymore unless I eat out and I eat someplace that maybe uses seed oils or seasonings that maybe irritate my gut or something like that. I might experience a little bit of that, but nothing like it used to be.
Perfect. Thank you, Richelle. Violet, any special considerations if breastfeeding, Richelle?
I am currently pregnant and breastfeeding. I would say if you are just going to start getting into carnivore, I would say make sure you go through the priming protocol. If you don't know what that is, please come and check us out in the Steak and Butter Gang and we will walk you through that. You want to make sure that you're eating enough. There are a lot of women that worry about their supply or their supply dropping or say that they can't keep their supply if they go carnivore. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that most people are under eating or they're getting insufficient amounts of sodium and minerals. So if you think about it, when you're pregnant, that requires 4 pounds of minerals being removed from your body to build a baby, not to mention everything else. And then you go into breastfeeding, which will then require more demand on your body. So I would say just making sure you're eating enough fat and enough protein.
Oh. Thank you, Richelle.
No worries. Hey, I'm going to skip the line here real quick because we got
Go ahead,
one
Bob.
more. This will be last one for Dr. Phil because he's got to go in 2 minutes.
Yes. Thank you. Dr. Smith, if you don't have a colon, does that mean you don't have a microbiome? I subscribe. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, technically, you would have very little microbiome. But when you have your colon resected, the terminal ileum is connected to an ileostomy or to a surgically made rectum. So you start to get colonization of the distal ileum, which is the third part of the small bowel. So you actually do have part of a microbiome, but it's a very small component of your bowel compared to someone that has 12 feet of colon.
All right.
Perfect.
Well, thanks, Phil. Do you have to go now, Phil?
Yeah, I have to leave. I saw an insulin one too. Is there?
This one here?
Yeah. Carrie.
Wow.
So insulin 10.6 down from 10.7 in 6 months. Also ANA, that is 1.640, still waiting other labs. Should I be considering Lion diet?
Yes. We just find you may not get your insulin level down below 10. I mean, we'd like to see it below 9, but I'm glad to see it's 10. But for autoimmune disease, especially SLE, which I assume you have, systemic lupus erythematosus, we usually do recommend lion diet because it's the least inflammatory diet.
Perfect. Patrick, what are your thoughts on taking NMN supplementation on a carnivore diet? Thank you, Phil. Bye. Who here knows what NMN supplementation is? Go ahead, Raymond.
Yeah, I took some for a little bit, and I think there's something to it because I really felt a little difference. So they're the precursor to NAD+. So all of this is for your mitochondria. Without getting too geeky, I really enjoyed doing that. So for that little bit, it just gives fuel to your mitochondria, opens it up a little bit, gives you that extra energy. But again, not taking it is fine too. So NAD+ helps for the mitochondria too. Let's remember, being in a carnivore diet, you're getting the basic amino acids already that can form these exact things that you're going after. So if you want to do that on top of that, I say go for it. I don't see anything wrong with it.
Perfect.
All right.
All right. Last few questions we'll take, and then we'll wrap up for tonight. Jacqueline, welcome. I have 200 pounds to lose, and I have hypothyroidism. And I guess the question is, how should she go about it?
Well, I've lost 320 pounds, and I can tell you the single biggest thing that helped me was joining SBG. And so I would start there because there's a lot of questions you're going to need to be answered. And this isn't a diet, it's a way of life. So you need to learn how all of it works, and you're going to need a good community. And so I would suggest joining SBG and learning from people that have done it, because it's going to help you to have confidence in it. And it's going to help, people have already broke trail. And so if you go in there, they can help you find the easier path forward for sure, because that can't be answered in a comment question, in my opinion.
Thank you, Tom.
I want to add on that, losing 200 pounds is definitely possible. The problem is keeping it off also.
Mm-hmm.
Some people reach their goal and then all of a sudden, like, they can't hold it anymore. So this is where a community, just like Todd said, this is not a quick result thing. It's going to take time. So again, that's why we need the support. We're cheering you on.
Yes, we are. Sure. I do want to shout out Lindy, because I'm sure a lot of women can just gain a lot of inspiration and insight from Lindy's story. So Lindy lost 500 pounds. She usually joins us during our Friday live streams. And for Lindy, the key was to have that weekly coach to speak to and go back to week after week. Otherwise, doing it alone, I get it. No one's cheering you on. No one sees how much work you're putting in. You're just doing it all by yourself. So Jacqueline, you can also find a coach, and I would be more than happy to recommend a great coach for you and your goals. Anyone watching this live stream wanting just one-on-one coaching, just email me at sbgchallenge@gmail.com. I'll just type it while we are at it here. It's in the live chat, sbgchallenge@gmail.com. Tell me you want a coach. Tell me your goals. I'd be happy to set you up with one. Okay?
All right. And I think that's all we have time for, isn't it?
That's right. Now, I want to wrap up one more time with the Montana meetup, because it is coming up very soon. These months fly by. So July 4th to July 5th, plan out a trip to hang out with us. These in-person meetups are magical, because not only do you get to meet these awesome doctors that have changed your lives, I'm sure, but you can also make carnivore friends. Every single one that I go to, I see right in front of my eyes carnivores making friends, staying in touch, finding their meetups on their own in their own neighborhoods. Like, I was in Australia the last time, and two random ladies sitting next to each other, they happen to live in the same street. Okay. So like, you just never know who you are going to meet. You might even meet your wife or your future husband. So svg.events, and I'm going to drop a link in the live chat one more time, but you guys can also open the description box below for clickable links so you can easily hop on over and get your tickets. They're going to sell out fast, so I recommend you guys get them now. Okay?
Absolutely.
Anything else?
I think that's it. We're going to SPG now to go listen to Dr. Chafee answer questions. So that's awesome.
See you guys in there. Dr. Chafee will join us tonight.
See you guys
Bye.
after this.
Awesome,
Have a
everyone.
good
Bye,
weekend.
everyone.